On December 6, 1942, the skies above Eindhoven shattered with the roar of 93 low-flying RAF bombers. Their target? The heart of Nazi Germany's electronics war machine, their Philips factories. What followed was one of the most audacious daylight raids of World War II, Operation Oyster. Philips in Eindhoven was no ordinary industrial complex. By 1942, it had become integral to the German war effort, emerging as one of the most critical producers of electronic components, essential to military operations. Its factories were responsible for manufacturing approximately 1/3 of all vacuum tubes utilised by the German armed forces, vital not only for military radios and communication systems, but also for radar installations, significantly enhancing Germany's defensive and offensive capabilities. British intelligence, acutely aware of the strategic importance of Philips's production, grew increasingly alarmed by the potential for these technological advancements to bolster German radar accuracy and electronic countermeasures. These developments pose a significant and imminent threat, potentially undermining the effectiveness of Allied operations and putting the air superiority of the Allies at substantial risk. Daylight bombing was chosen over night bombing for several key reasons. Firstly, the Philips factories in Eindhoven were situated in a densely built urban area, where precision was essential to avoid excessive civilian casualties and collateral damage. Daylight allowed for greater bombing accuracy compared to the relatively indiscriminate nature of night raids, which were often hampered by poor visibility and navigation difficulties. Secondly, the RAF aimed to deliver a psychological and strategic blow by demonstrating that well-coordinated, low-level daylight attacks could penetrate German defences and strike critical industrial targets with devastating effect. While night bombing had the advantage of reduced exposure to fighters and flak, the tactical requirements of Operation Oyster demanded the precision and coordination that only a daylight raid could provide. Therefore, tasked with the raid was the RAF's No. 2 Group, the only daylight bomber group in RAF Bomber Command. Operating out of a series of airfields across Norfolk, No. 2 Group had built a reputation for conducting daring low to medium altitude attacks against enemy infrastructure across occupied Europe. These missions typically involved smaller formations targeting shipping and military installations in coastal regions, often under the protective umbrella of fighter escorts. However, the proposed assault on Eindhoven's heavily fortified industrial heartland represented a dramatic escalation in scale, risk and complexity. The sheer size of the force assembled, the precision required for the attack, and the need to navigate deep into enemy territory without fighter cover pushed No. 2 Group beyond anything it had undertaken before. It would demand unprecedented levels of coordination, training and courage from every squadron involved. 3 aircraft types were pivotal in the mission, each bringing distinct strengths and operational challenges to the table. The Lockheed Ventura. Robust but cumbersome, the Ventura was an American-built medium bomber known for its durability and range. However, it struggled with formation cohesion during low-level flight due to its size and handling characteristics. Crews faced significant challenges when flying in tight, treetop level formations, often requiring intense focus and precision. Despite these drawbacks, its payload capacity and resilience made it a valuable component of the strike force. The Douglas Boston. Fast, agile and dependable at medium altitudes, the Boston, also known as the A-20 Havoc in US service, had proven itself in earlier operations. It was well suited for precision bombing and was trusted by RAF crews for its reliability and manoeuvrability. Its speed and ability to deliver high explosive ordnance with accuracy made it ideal for leading the assault. The de Havilland Mosquito. Known affectionately as the Wooden Wonder due to its wooden construction, the Mosquito was one of the most versatile aircraft of the war. Light, fast and extremely adaptable, it had minimal radar signature and could outrun most enemy fighters. Its superior speed and pinpoint accuracy in delivering bombs made it especially valuable for targeted strikes on sensitive installations like Philips. Its performance in Operation Oyster further cemented its legendary status among RAF crews. Intensive training began in November 1942, with a rigorous schedule designed to prepare crews for the complex and perilous mission ahead. Pilots and navigators honed their skills in low-level flying, often skimming treetops and practicing rapid altitude changes to simulate evasive manoeuvres. Bombing accuracy drills were conducted intensively, with mock targets spread across the countryside to replicate the layout of the Phillips factories. Crews flew in increasingly larger formations, focusing on maintaining precise spacing and timing during high-speed, low-altitude approaches. Early exercises, however, highlighted several critical issues, particularly with the Lockheed Venturas' stability and responsiveness at low levels. The backwash from tightly packed aircraft disrupted airflow, causing turbulence and making the aircraft harder to control. These problems necessitated immediate tactical revisions, including staggered takeoff times and adjusted formation layouts to enhance cohesion and safety. The training phase also involved coordination between squadrons operating different aircraft types, ensuring they could synchronize their movements during the high-speed attack. This intense period of preparation was essential for transforming the diverse collection of bombers into a single, unified strike force, capable of executing one of the most daring raids of the war. The carefully structured plan involved a coordinated sequence of staggered assaults, each tailored to maximise destruction and minimise overlap. The Phillips site was split into two main sites, the larger Stripe Group Works and the smaller Emma-Single workshops about half a mile to the southeast. The Douglas Bostons, supplied by numbers 88, 107 and 226 squadrons of the RAF, were designated to spearhead the operation, attacking first by releasing a payload of 500-pound high-explosive bombs designed to penetrate and disable the structural heart of the Phillips factories. Flying at high speed and moderate altitude, these aircraft were tasked with disrupting the site's operational capability and breaking down resistance. Immediately following them, the Havilland Mosquitos from numbers 105 and 139 squadrons would deliver precision-guided attacks aimed at specific high-value targets within the facility, including power systems and specialised laboratories suspected of conducting radar research. Their superior manoeuvrability and speed allowed them to navigate amidst anti-aircraft fire with relative agility, ensuring their 500-pound bombs hit exactly where needed. Finally, bringing up the rear, the Lockheed Venturas of numbers 21, 464 Australian and 487 New Zealand squadrons would approach at lower altitudes to blanket the site with incendiaries, phosphorus bombs that would ignite fires across rooftops and within flammable infrastructure, ensuring the damage would be total and prolonged. Every segment of the assault had to be completed in quick succession to maintain the element of surprise and avoid friendly fire. The timeline was incredibly tight. The entire attack was to be executed and concluded within a mere 10 minutes. A rapid-fire sequence requiring flawless synchronization among 3 different aircraft types operating under extreme pressure. To confuse German defences and protect the main attacking force, a series of well-coordinated diversionary raids were launched by the United States Army Air Forces. American B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators were dispatched to bomb rail yards and airfields in locations such as Lille and Abbeville. These targets were carefully selected to appear as legitimate primary objectives, thereby drawing significant Luftwaffe fighter cover away from Eindhoven. Accompanied by Spitfire escorts, these decoy missions not only deceived enemy radar, but also engaged German fighters in prolonged dogfights, further depleting their ability to respond to the real raid. This elaborate misdirection campaign was critical in reducing the resistance encountered by No. 2 Group during Operation Oyster, contributing significantly to the operation's initial success and limiting the exposure of RAF bombers to coordinated interception. On December 6th, at approximately 11:30 am, the mission commenced at low altitude, with all aircraft flying at near treetop level to evade German radar detection and reduce exposure to enemy fighters. The formation hugged the contours of the English countryside before making a daring dash across the North Sea. As they neared the Dutch coastline, crews tightened their formations, steeled themselves for the danger ahead, and adjusted altitudes to stay beneath radar coverage. The first wave of Douglas Bostons approached their targets, diving towards the Phillips factories in precise, disciplined formations. Initially, the defenders were caught off guard by the unexpected low-level approach. But as the aircraft closed in, flak batteries sprang into action. The sky erupted into a lethal web of explosions, each burst a threat to the bombers navigating the gauntlet. Despite the intense danger and early losses, including aircraft that were damaged, forced to turn back or destroyed en route, the Bostons managed to push through and deliver their bomb loads with remarkable precision. Their primary objective was the Emma Single complex, and they struck with devastating effect. The impact of the high explosive bombs tore through machinery, shattered production lines and ignited smaller fires that would soon be stoked by the incendiaries to follow. Explosions sent debris flying high into the air, and columns of smoke began to rise from the heart of the facility. Hot on their heels were the Mosquitos, moving in with calculated urgency. These aircraft, prized for their speed and manoeuvrability, darted through the chaos with practiced ease. Their role was to target specific research and development buildings within the Stripe Works, including areas believed to house advanced radar technology experiments. As they released their payloads in shallow dive bombing runs, their bombs struck with surgical accuracy. Secondary explosions confirmed the effectiveness of their assault, and many crews took the opportunity to strafe enemy gun emplacements as they pulled away, suppressing flak and easing the burden for the final wave. Finally, the slower and more vulnerable Lockheed Venturas arrived at the tail end of the operation. Flying slightly offset from the earlier attack routes to avoid congested airspace and the densest flak zones, they battled worsening visibility. The smoke and fires from the earlier strikes now blanketed the area, turning the bomb and run into a treacherous mission. Many crews struggled to identify visual cues for alignment and timing. Nevertheless, they pressed on and released their loads of incendiary bombs directly over the sprawling industrial estate. The phosphorus munitions ignited fires with a ferocity rarely seen. Flames leapt from rooftop to rooftop, spreading unchecked throughout the vast complexes of Phillips. The destruction was immense. Entire sections of the factories were consumed in firestorms, and the structural integrity of the buildings collapsed under the dual weight of high explosives and relentless flames. As the Venturas departed the target area, the city below was a picture of devastation. Roaring fires, towers of black smoke blotting out the sun, and the wreckage of shattered industry. The withdrawal was treacherous and nearly as perilous as the raid itself. Pilots flew dangerously low over open countryside, weaving between trees, church spires and urban rooftops in a desperate attempt to avoid enemy radar and flak batteries that had now fully mobilised. Navigational challenges were compounded by the dense smoke columns billowing from Eindhoven, reducing visibility and making coordinated retreat a nerve-wracking ordeal. German fighters, alerted by the chaos over the target, scrambled from nearby airfields and quickly began harassing the retreating bombers. Luftwaffe FW-190s and Bf-109s dived out of the sun, ambushing damaged and straggling aircraft. Aircrews fought back valiantly, some with gunners firing until their ammunition was spent, others resorting to evasive manoeuvres at treetop level. In the confusion, several aircraft collided with trees or high-tension wires, while others fell victim to enemy fire. Losses mounted rapidly, with numerous aircraft shot down, crash landing, or limping back across the channel riddled with holes and smoke trailing from their engines. During the return leg over the North Sea, RAF Spitfires that had provided escort earlier in the mission rejoined elements of the bomber stream, offering limited cover and helping to deter further Luftwaffe attacks. Though the Spitfires had not penetrated into occupied airspace, their presence during the crossing home was a welcome sight for many exhausted aircrews. Yet amidst the chaos, many crews made it home, their aircraft barely intact, but their mission complete. Reconnaissance revealed extensive destruction. Aerial photographs and intelligence reports confirmed that vast sections of the Phillips factory complex lay in ruins. Production had ground to a halt, and it would take months before even partial operations could resume. The knock-on effect across the German electronic supply chain was immediate and severe, with vacuum tube shortages impacting radio communications, radar systems and other vital electronic equipment for the Wehrmacht and Luftwaffe. Reports from German industrial planners highlighted the disruption as one of the most significant setbacks to their electronics program to date. The operation's success rippled beyond the target, affecting morale and raising questions within the German command about the vulnerability of key assets. Allied analysts deemed the raid a major strategic success, not only in its material damage, but also as proof that well-planned low-level daylight bombing missions could strike deep into enemy territory with devastating effect. Despite the heavy casualties, the operation stood as a powerful demonstration of precision air power's potential when executed with coordination, skill, and audacity. The cost was severe. 62 airmen lost, 15 aircraft downed, and another 57 damaged. Many of the airmen who perished were experienced crew members, some of whom had flown numerous missions before Operation Oyster. Their loss represented not only a human tragedy, but also a significant depletion of skilled personnel for No. 2 Group. Civilian casualties in Eindhoven were also tragically high, with approximately 150 killed and many more injured. Entire residential blocks near the Philips factories were destroyed or badly damaged, and rescue workers toiled for days to recover bodies and assist survivors. Despite the precision nature of the raid, the proximity of homes to industrial targets made civilian losses almost inevitable. In the face of such devastation, the mission's strategic importance was brought into sharp relief. The sacrifice of aircrew and civilians alike had dealt a telling blow to the Nazi war machine. While the loss was deeply felt across the squadrons and by the Dutch population, military leaders stood firm in their assessment that the objectives had been worth the cost. Operation Oyster remains a testament to the bravery and precision of RAF Bomber Command. This raid, though costly, dramatically showcased the impact targeted airstrikes could have on the Nazi war machine. It stands as a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in the relentless pursuit of victory during the darkest days of World War II. Thanks very much for watching. Please take a moment to hit the like button and consider subscribing.